Hey, Whiskey Outpost, how's it going? As you know, the holidays are coming around, and when the holidays show up, I like to give alcohol because I've got some in-laws that I would much prefer to hang around if they're drunk.
No.
I've got some in-laws I would much rather hang around if I'm drunk.
No.
We've got some ideas for gifts to give this holiday season. Hey, Whiskey Outpost, how's it going? It's Chris. Okay, all kidding aside, when the holidays roll around, giving liquor, if you know the person drinks, is a pretty reasonable way to give some gifts that show a little thought and, will make you happy just to make the holidays go by a little bit quicker. For this video, I will actually be drinking a local Tomstown bourbon. This is out of Kansas City. It's got actually a very kind of Buffalo Trace smell and kind of color to it, right? But I can get it in downtown Kansas City at the Tomstown Distillery, which has really good food. So if you're in Kansas City, check out Tomstown, learn a little bit about Prohibition, get some good food. We'll go from there. Cheers. Now, because gift giving is such a wide topic, we actually are going to split this video into 3 parts. This is the first part. And we're going to look at some different price categories for different types of bourbons out there. Now, because spirits is such a wide area, really for this video, when we look at bourbons at 30, 40, 50, 60, and above, we look at those categories, we are going to concentrate on bourbon a little bit more than we would otherwise. Part 2, we're actually going to talk about what are you going to do if you have to go to like a white elephant gift, that kind of thing, something which might have like a $15 to $20 price tag. We're going to include some other types of spirits into that I think people will enjoy. And then the last one is, what are those gifts that you want to give to somebody that's really into bourbon? Because those people are a lot of times going to have things that they want off the shelf. So we're going to work a little harder to maybe find something a little unique, maybe some bourbon paraphernalia that they don't have, kind of work through that. But for today, we're really going to look at some different price points and what's a bourbon that you can buy that someone's really going to enjoy. So the first place we want to start off is what would be a good gift if you're trying to find something under $30? And all of the prices that we're going to talk about today come from the Kansas City Total Wine Store as of the middle of November. Of course, prices vary by regionality, state law, all that kind of thing, different stores. And I want you to know I support big stores and little stores. I mean, I try to go to the local liquor dealers, but I sort of made the decision that a Total Wine, those prices would be more indicative of probably what you'll find about anywhere. So with that in mind, we're going to start with $30. So for me, as I kind of looked at the shelf, I mean, there's a bunch of, lower shelf stuff, let's be honest, that you can get for 10, 15, 20 bucks. At this price point, if I want to get something I'm pretty sure will delight the drinker, I'm going to go with Four Roses. Now, I was able to find a couple bottles of Four Roses for $28-ish. They've got some small batch and some things that are more than that, but you can get a very nice bottle of Four Roses for about 28 bucks. And I've heard this is a bourbon that people either love or hate. I don't know anybody who hates it. I think it's got a very pleasant aroma. I think it's got a very pleasant taste. If you're not sure that somebody's a bourbon fan, but you know they like spirits, it is a great gateway drug to some other bourbons that they might like at higher price points. It's good in cocktails. It's good and neat. It's good. So for that price point, under 30 bucks, I'm definitely going to advise that you go with Four Roses. If you want something a little different than that, or you may know that they're that group that doesn't like Four Roses, Knob Creek, the 9-year, is $29.99. That's kind of the entry level Knob Creek. That's my daily drinker. That's what I'll go to if I just want a bottle. I can find one almost anywhere at $29.99. It's not breaking the bank, but it's good to drink. So one of those 2 bottles really should get you going. Next, then, let's get another sip of what we're drinking here. Thank you, Tomstown. So we'll next look at the under 40 price point. Now, I like this price point a lot because you start to get some things that are a little bit harder to find, but are also really good. So for me, I went with Redwood Empire's Lost Monarch. Now, I was able to find this regularly priced at $36.99. And I'm like, okay, that's a great price because I've given Redwood Empire as a gift myself personally. Like, I know this works, so it's not something I like to drink. It's something I like to give. The bottle's cool. There's crazy drawings on it. The story is they're named after trees in the redwood forest. Redwood Empire, Lost Monarch. It's going to be a little bit stronger, a little proofier. It's going to be a little bit more of an interesting bourbon, but my buddies who I gave it to drank it up and loved it and said their wives loved it and their family, I don't want to say family, let's say wives, because I know she was of age, right? Yeah, I just think it was a good gift across the board for that. Next, if you're looking at a gift that is $50 or under, for me, if you can find it, Knob Creek, nope. For me, if you can find it, 13th Colony is the way to go. I found bottles of this in Missouri, finally. Thank you, 13th Colony. I found it for $44.99, and I almost bought every bottle on the shelf. Like, I just love 13th Colony. I love their rye. It's probably my second favorite rye. Seacrest is kind of hard to beat, but for a non-finished rye, it is definitely top of the line. Again, we're talking about bourbons. The 13th Colony bourbon, just the brown label bourbon, kind of their, I won't say entry level because there's nothing entry level about 13th Colony, but it's not double oaked, it's not anything else. It's just good bourbon, $44.99. If you can pick it up, buy it, send it out. If not, I found a couple looked like finished or cast strength bullets for that price that I really like. I just think there's a lot of things that you can do, sort of at that price point. One other thing that you might want to consider too, and this is, I don't know if it's available everywhere, but if you can get your hands on it, Still Austin is now coming in at $45. And their rye apparently is winning awards everywhere. Their bourbon is fantastic. And there's certainly Still Austins that you can get at higher than $50, but their basic bourbon was $45 on the shelf at Total Wine. So kind of hard not to pick that unless the 13th Colony's there. Sorry, Still Austin. It's just my preference. If you're looking at under 50, that's where things get kind of interesting. I mean, you've got a whole range of things that you can do at 60 or less. For me, it's Penelope Architect. I think that's a somewhat controversial choice. Penelope does a lot of good stuff. Somehow Architect became the controversial pick for that. Do not understand, because Penelope Architect was my entry into Penelope, and it's still one of my favorite drinks I've had out there. I like the barrel notes. To me, I get a little citrus, like a little orange peel. Love it. Think it's fantastic. And again, now we're talking about something that's got a name to it, right? Penelope does a lot of good stuff. So if you're handing that out, you're going to look cool, like, bourbon. Yeah, it's good. So kind of really look at that Penelope Architect as something that you might want to serve out. And yeah, so I then surveyed the rest of the store. And it's kind of hard to tell when you're putting one of these guides together what's the best thing out there, because bourbon is such a wide range of things, right? So, does the person you're buying for, do they want sweeter? Do they want higher proof? What's really their personal taste? And so the thing that I really started looking at is, like, if I was going to try to buy something for somebody over 60, but yet still reasonable, I mean, obviously I'll go look and see if they have anything allocated. Eagle Rare, which should be 47, I think. A lot of times that gets kicked up. Buffalo Trace, I didn't include it on the list because this time of the year, I don't think you're going to find it. And even though it MSRP's at like 28, you're probably going to end up buying it secondary. for like 80 if you're going to find it. Like if you have to give that out as a gift and you can't get to the Buffalo Trace Distillery to buy it yourself. At the end of the day, though, I really surveyed the list. And for me, it came down to the Redline Elements Amberana, because you know how much I like Amberana. Redline Elements Amberana, $63, $62.99. And really any of those red lines that have a finish to them. They've got a peach finish. They've got Armagnac. They've got all of these different things. And Redline's getting to be one of those brands for me that I haven't had a bad one. So I think they've got a straight bourbon. I believe it's in that under 40 range. Good place to start. But a lot of their finishes do get a little pricey if we're talking about buying a bottle for somebody else that you're not going to drink, right? I mean, you know, you could be 72. There, that was one of the finishes. I think that was the Armagnac. I saw some of their more experimental or their new finishes, like the peach I've got sitting in another room. That's $100. But if you're just looking for something that's got a little bit of a wow factor to it, the Redline Elements Amberana, that's a perfect way to go. I mean, honestly, if you can find, you know, something again allocated, Antique 107, or I mean, you find Blanton's, right? And you want to give that away, go for it. But I was just talking about what I could find on the shelf, and that's what popped out to me. So, you know, once again, your mileage may vary, but if you were to walk into a big box retail liquor store, not know what to do, these are my picks for you. Again, if you're looking at under 30, you know, you've got Four Roses, you've got Knob Creek. If you're looking at under 40, you know, that's when you want to look at that Lost Monarch from Redwood Empire. You know, under 50, you've got the Still Austin 13th Colony. Those are both great. Under 60, Penelope Architect, 100%. Other than that, you want something real special? Try Redline. You're not going to be sorry. If the person you give it to doesn't like it, take it home and drink it yourself because it's amazing. Right? Okay. So again, part 1 of the holiday gift guide. I hope that helps. If there's other things you want to know, comments right down there. Happy to ask questions. And if you've got a specific person on your list and you know, hey, this person hates proof or wants that Kentucky like bear hug, right? Slap in the face. Put it in the comments. I'll be more than happy to work with you. A lot of what I like to do is, you know, help people on this bourbon journey. And so if you've got specific parameters, would love to help you work through all of that. In the meantime, like, subscribe, do the thing. It's YouTube. I mean, we know what to do. But I'll come back with part 2 here pretty soon. That's when we're going to talk about things that you can give for cheaper, or I think White Elephant gifts are kind of awesome this time of year. So I always want people to be armed with something fun that they can take, because I like to be the guy who brings the thing that people fight over, and good bourbon will do that. Anyway, see you next time. Talk to you soon. Bye, Whiskey Outpost.